Welcome to the Brant and Sherri Oddcast, sponsored by America's Christian Credit Union. To order Brant's latest book, Life is Hard, God is Good, Let's Dance, or to find out more about the show, go to BrantHansen.com.
Okay, so we're recording now?
Yep.
This is just audio.
Yes, it is.
So far, it's gone really well. Talking about the Living Unoffended podcast. If you haven't checked it out, I hope you will. I hope it's a help to you. I hope it's a blessing. Again, we keep it short, maybe 10, 15 minutes, but it's a chance to remind you of the importance of actually doing the Jesus stuff as far as loving our enemies and forgiving people. There's no point in any of the other stuff if we don't do that. No point.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about it enough. In one of the early episodes, I used the example of Julian Edelman, who I heard on a sports show because he's a sports guy.
So therefore, he does sports things on sports shows, being a sports guy.
He had some real insight into sports, and I think it's because of his career as a
sports guy. Yeah, as a sportsman.
He was paid to be a sportsman
A sportsman.
by a franchise in the National Football League. So he played for the Patriots, and the guy asked him, "How come you guys never fumbled? Like you went years. You guys just don't fumble." It was really weird as a team. He's like, "Well, it's because we talked about it constantly." We talked about it constantly. It was a big deal. Like you've got that football, you're carrying the entire franchise, even the front office people, the people who work in the cafeteria, like everybody's riding with this football.
Yeah.
But we were hyper aware of it because they talked about it all the time. It's like, if you don't talk about something all the time, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so interesting about so this is to talk about it all the time. So it's something you can plug in once a week. It's gotten a good reaction. I've been happy. I think people get it.
Yeah.
I think they realize we need it. So yeah, it's been good.
That's really good. I talking about it all the time because that's what God said to Joshua, right? Like it wasn't even just to observe the law. He said, never let it depart from your mouth.
From your lips.
Yeah, you have to keep saying it. I that's a really good point that I don't know that I always
do not
internalize.
let the words of the law depart from your lips.
Yeah.
Meditate on it day and night.
Yeah.
So that you may be careful to do what it says. Then you will be prosperous and successful.
Yeah. Come on in here, Brant Hansen.
All
right now.
Joshua 1:8. I'll take the points.
Come on in here, memorization app.
Yeah, you got to talk about it all the time. It's not going to come particularly naturally.
That's
Loving our enemies
good.
does not come naturally.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the thing that people were defined by early on in the history of the church. That was the number one teaching. They realized that this is, but we've shoved it to the side somehow.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, and I don't want to get political with it, but it's unfortunately going to be political. But I look at a guy like J.D. Vance, and he's such a brilliant writer, such a smart guy, and he's this, observant Catholic, and I have a lot of respect for that.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not Catholic, I have respect for it. But doggone it, man, you can't just say. I can't even say it. You can't even say "forget you." To people who are your political enemies. They may be the rudest, they may be the worst.
Yeah.
But just to turn around and say, eat this, like, what do you not understand? You may understand a lot of arcane theology, and that's beautiful, and you may love cathedrals and stuff. I do too, but like, if you don't love your enemies, what are you doing? Don't you understand it's how you respond? Like, and this can be on either side of it. Joe Biden,
Absolutely.
another Catholic, he said, like, where's you've got to be kidding me. The hatred, the anger, like you have to respond a certain way or you're missing the whole, like this is all of us.
Yeah.
It's not enough to call yourself anything if you don't love your enemies related to Jesus. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
I would love.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, you go ahead. I really would rather hear you.
Well, no, I was going to co-sign what you're saying and also say during the time off, I've just been, listening to a lot of different podcasts, just kind of studying some things and realizing that this really is the hallmark of it all reflected in Calvary, right? And that so many people can say so many things that sound so good and are adjacent to the faith. But this is the thing. Again, rooted and reflected in Calvary. That's the ultimate love for an enemy, right? Is that sacrifice. And so I was listening to some people talk, and they sound like, these are people in entertainment, sounded like believers, had things that I would almost hear in church, frankly. And I had to think, but what's the difference? And this is one of the differences, is when you spoke about someone who didn't agree with them, whether it's culturally or politically, the vitriol, the anger, the hostility, the meanness, the bullying, and frankly, even if it wasn't to that extent, it wasn't love. Love is action, right? Love is not, okay, well, you do you. That's not love. That's not what Calvary is. And so I think it is important, because as the language of, the faith, quote unquote, Christianity, whatever you want to call it, seeps into culture, there are people, I believe, that can kind of take it, the certain parts of it, and incorporate it into some sort of weird patchwork mindset or worldview. But without this, again, tethered to Calvary, you do not have the faith that you're not a disciple. Let me put it that way. I don't know what you are, and I'm not here to judge that. But
you're making it worse, Paul says.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't say, he's like, you can do all this stuff. You can do this, you can do that. And you can be completely whatever politically that you think is wonderful. You're the most inclusive person on the planet, or you're the most insightful person. You're the most whatever. But without love, you're not just neutral. You're a bunch of noise. Nobody wants to hear a clanging cymbal.
Yeah.
So you may be adjacent on all these things. We may be adjacent.
Mm-hmm.
We may have all the theology down cold, we think. We may be the standard bearer for truth. But without love, it's worse.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Of course, it's a defining characteristic. This is, God is love, and he defines it.
Yeah.
Not us, by the way, but he is love. It doesn't say he is artistry. Like as creative as he is. It's just something about God is love. Like there's something exalted about that. So yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot too, and how that really does define us. Because it's getting confused for a lot of people with politics, and either for or against this person or that person. Or, that defines your commitment to Christ. Like, no, it's going to be loving your enemies, actually doing the stuff that he said.
Yeah. That's good. I'm glad that you have this podcast, cool. And I'm glad that you're doing it.
Thanks. Thank you.
I think that it's very needed. And so, everybody go check that out. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit and see what we haven't talked about, what the response that you've seen or heard has been.
Yeah, it's been good.
Good.
It's been great.
Good.
Hey, this is Brant, and I have something you should know about. This is actually some very practical advice I'm going to give you. I'm almost proud of myself, although I have no responsibility for how awesome this actually is. America's Christian Credit Union. It's a totally different way of banking. I mean, it has all the usual conveniences. It got credit and debit cards and loans for all sorts of stuff. They're great for car loans, by the way, savings accounts, all that stuff. But it's different because they use our money for good, for things I support. This is like one very easy way to be a blessing to people. America's Christian Credit Union funds all sorts of good things like adoptions, all sorts of ministries. It's a nonprofit. We get the benefits of a great credit union, but it helps people. I believe that is what is called a win-win. They're rock solid too. They've been around since the 1950s. So you should look into it. It's americaschristiancu.com/Brant. They have a special bonus if you go to that link. It's americaschristiancu.com/BRANT.
All right. Now how about any New Year's stuff you want to do?
Yeah, I have some New Year's predictions. They're not funny though. They're not very
They're not funny.
entertaining.
Okay, they're not
So
entertaining. Okay, that's a great caveat in the beginning. What you're
it's a
about to
good.
hear,
That's a tease.
stay tuned for my
Coming up, it's not even interesting or entertaining. We'll have it for you in a minute.
Here's
Tonight at
Mercy Me.
10.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's unfold it.
Yeah, things I think are gonna be. Boy, I don't want to be a downer.
Okay.
So I think fear and anger are going to get worse, and I think political violence will get worse. Because there's more people who are okay with it than I've ever imagined.
Yeah.
In my life. So I expect more of that, and that'll make for a difficult year for people who don't have trust in God.
Yeah.
And honestly, what I see being kind of like a result of that, downstream from all that, is I feel like there's going to be more people who are believers who are practicing full-on counterculture stuff.
What do you mean?
Where they're gonna have a yearning for real things like never before. We've always talked about that, and even people adapted the ideas of community and authenticity and kind of grafted it on to business plans and whatnot. But honestly, I think even making stuff is going to get hotter, like with your hands, whether it's knitting or woodwork or whatever it is, just making stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be hot, like for more people, growing your own food. Not all your food, but just more food. Like you might want to plant some more tomatoes or something. Like I just think it's going to be a bigger thing, and I also think people getting off social media entirely is going to accelerate.
I agree.
Yeah, can you kind of see that coming?
I absolutely see that coming, because the more, I think we talked about it before, the more I don't know what is real and what is not, is the more that I just need to tangibly see it in front of me, tangibly hear someone in front of me, because I don't know what any of this is anymore. Like the more I think about AI and all of those things, is the more that I start believing that essentially or eventually it is an overplay on the enemy's hands, because it will drive people, maybe what I hear you saying, to authenticity, because this is all fake and I don't know what is real and I need it in front of me. Yeah.
And so to wit about what you're saying, I think the scripture memorization thing is going to get bigger, because people are going to want to know something that's true.
Yeah.
And commit it to their mind. I think there's going to be, like, again, it's like this counterculture. I'm not talking about the culture at large, which is going to get more fearful and more anxious.
Yeah.
But there's going to be more people going, I need out of this.
Yeah.
I need to live a different way. I may be in the midst of it geographically, but my family or my household is going to be different. My own personal life is going to be different. I think more screen-free homes are going to be hot.
Yeah.
Where kids don't have any screens whatsoever. And the weird thing is that's going to happen, and maybe it's already happening, but there's going to be kids that will be really good readers. And then there's going to be kids that can't read at all. More and more and more. It's going to be like a 2-tier system. And I think a lot of believers are going to make these family decisions where it's actually going to yield some really wonderful human beings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're more so than my parents never. We had the TV on every meal, it's like come home for lunch and Stays of Our Lives is on, and then come home later, Billy Desire.
We grew up with Victor Newman, and we just knew it, right? Yeah.
Victor Kiriakis.
Stefano was a part of the family. What are we?
Stefano Damaris. Damara.
Yeah, and Marlena. These are things we knew.
Evil ways. Marlena died repeatedly.
She
was
did.
raised from the grave.
With her, think about Roman. He would die and come back a completely different actor. We were like, now who is that?
And then the actor that played Roman would come back.
Right. And we were like,
just got
wait.
used to the other guy being Roman. But you guys are just doing this just to see how much we put up with. And you see what that did to our brains. So I'm talking about a whole generation. There's going to be kids that are going to be really actually well educated.
And be salt and light. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Be salt and light to that generation, because like you said, it's a two-tier system, or it's what you are able to exhibit and be an example for your peers.
Yeah, and this is going to sound awful, but please, just ask for your grace if you're insulted by this. And maybe you're listening to this, you're not a believer. My exposure continues to be when I have discussions with people who are not believers. Even they may be incredibly smart people, but they have not thought deeply about existential issues. Like, why are we here? What is a good life? What's the whole point of all of this? They just haven't thought about it. So you have this huge advantage if you have.
Yes.
And so I can imagine like raising kids now, the people who are raising their kids now are like screen free, lots of reading, lots of talk about big issues, lots like, why are we here? You're going to go into the world. People like it's going to be very different.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a real advantage. I also think that, and we've already seen this in the last year or two, maybe actually 3 or 4 years since the pandemic, but micro churches are going to continue to grow. And I think they're going to take off more than ever this next year.
Yeah. What does that do to our church culture at large? What do you think? Do you think that's accepted?
I don't know if it'll do.
Or what's the response to that from what we would consider now to be quote unquote church leadership, or that kind of, gosh, I'm using the word industry, guys, just because I don't have another word for it. But you know what I'm saying, right? Like that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it largely gets ignored. And if it becomes a threat, what happens is it's like, well, we'll have all sorts of like heresy coming out of these micro churches because they need this hierarchical structure to keep them in line. The truth is, of course that can happen, but
everywhere,
but micro churches they can be really weird, and it can be cult of personality potentially. But that's very common in non-micro churches where you've got everything based on the personality of somebody who's on a stage. My experience in micro churches has been, it's very difficult to do that because people actually know who you are.
Yeah.
And we're spending so much time together. It's like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like you don't get away with some of this stuff that some guys get away with for years. And we find out later, like, wow, they're abusive to the staff. But they were charming on stage, or they're funny, or
there's no hiding. There's less hiding. Let's put it that. It's not as easy to hide issues and challenges.
That is a fact. And you can call each other out on stuff. Somebody on a stage with a great personality and lots of backing, you're just like, okay, well, guess he's right, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Then you get to keep it to yourself. But in a setting where everybody gets to speak, that tends to be healthier. So,
and you have to work through the one anothering thing. I mean, that's all the letters.
Totally right.
All the letters we have in the New Testament are from that model, right? It's okay. We're all here. We're shoved up in this house together. The culture pretty much wants to kill us, and so all we have is each other. So now, how then shall we live? That's basically the letters of the New Testament.
Yeah, and in fact, how do we, in light of the fact that we're being told now that we have to acknowledge Caesar as Lord, how are we going to handle this?
Yeah.
Because if we don't do it, they're going to kill us.
Yes, that is right.
Like, how do we respond in love? Like, how are we going to do it? Like, you draw this strength from each other. So, I think that's going to be a big thing, a bigger thing, I should say. I don't know if it'll be acknowledged much. And I think mental health for the culture at large is going to continue to get worse.
It's bad. It's bad.
The people who are rooted in their faith have a huge advantage of that capacity. We know this. Jonathan Haidt talks about that. He's not a conservative. He's not a religious person per se, but he literally says these people have an advantage mental health wise. We know that because they're not everything's up for grabs. Not
Yeah.
everything is an option.
Yeah.
But if you don't have any rootedness, everything, you've got choice anxiety. You don't even know who you are. Everything's a part of your identity making process, which never ends.
Yeah.
And it's all about managing your identity. Like, good grief. Like, I literally see people going down one or two tracks increasingly, leaning into the Lord, wanting more community, wanting more real stuff, or letting technology make them isolated and crazy. And
Yeah.
it's just inhuman. Lastly, I just saw that there was a church on Roblox.
Really?
Roblox is,
Yeah,
do you know what I'm
niece
talking
yeah,
about?
my niece plays it. I didn't know there was a church.
Well, I guess there are. And
Okay.
it's the funny thing about it is you just think, again, like, you've got the world you can create with Roblox, right?
Right.
You manipulate the environment. Anything's like this magical new world of let's create something wildly new. And we just can't do it.
Hmm.
In Roblox, the church looks like a typical church, and there's a guy on a stage, and people sit in rows. They don't talk to each other. They watch him, and he talks at them.
So even in
It's
Roblox,
just like,
it's not quite
right,
working out.
yeah. So I think there needs to be, and there might be, a new way of approaching how we get together, just to go, okay, there's certain scripts for certain venues. You walk into a courtroom and we act this way, and then
Yeah.
you walk into a conference room, you act this way, and you're not going to be creative in a conference room.
Right,
Generally, the CEO
right.
sits up there, like, we're all going to do this, and then you go to a club and you act that way. And like, certain venues are, but when we think about getting together for church, it's like, well, here's the script.
Right. Right.
Here's what we do. Like, we don't have to, though, do we? We can think of other ways. Why are we here? And then launch off from that. Like, why are we getting together? Well, we're getting together to encourage each other. Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's think about how we can do that.
That's
And I
great.
just studied it was an authors convention I was just reading about. And I don't know if it was in Atlanta or something, but it was to get book lovers together. They said that was the point. And so a lady came in to console. Like, okay, what's the objective of this this book convention? Well, we want book lovers to unite and get to know each other and bond over books. Well, but you have authors speaking for an hour in these
Yeah.
blocks. She said, well, given what you said this is for, let's start off with a discussion first. We'll ask a question, and people can turn and ask, what is your favorite book of the last year? And people can talk, give them 10, 15 minutes to get to know each other. And then we'll have the author speak. They're like, we can't take away from the time from the authors.
Then let's
And she said, well, then
reevaluate what the point is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then say the real point.
Right.
The point
Right.
is you want authors to talk at people. Just say it. Don't
Yeah.
say it's for.
Yes.
So, but once you realize, like, if we did want book lovers to unite, maybe we would structure this whole thing totally differently.
Yeah.
Maybe we could think in new ways. Maybe we
Yeah.
could go, okay, what creative ways can we do to build this tribe or encourage these people? Or
I love that. I love that in the context of our traditional church setting, right? So because you can think that within that setting, you can think, how do we get people together to actually be together and encourage each other? It doesn't always have to be in this building. It doesn't always have to be even in a small group setting where it's still kind of, the curriculum is kind of controlled by whoever told you that this is what you're talking about in your small. Like, are there creative ways for us to be together? And I think the more we can ask that question and the more we can lean into that is what will make us different people, because the culture is fracturing and isolating more and more. If you have a group of people who are together more and more, being in each other's spaces more and more, that is just bound to be countercultural in all the best ways, I think. And when I say in an unintentional way, it'll just naturally happen like fruit naturally happens. If an apple tree is an apple tree, it does not have to try to be like, oh, apple, 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 apple. It's just natural. It comes from that. It's a natural extension of what that tree is. And I think that the fruit of the Spirit will come out of those things because they have to. If we're together, Brant, and you and I are so different, but we have committed to be together, at some point, supernatural love has to happen or we're going to break apart.
Right.
You know what
And
I'm
I
saying?
expect that to kick in at some point. We've been
Yeah.
doing this for a long time.
Oh,
so it should start.
I'd give 2-3 years tops, and I really think it's gonna. I have faith.
I believe.
I have
know
faith.
that I know that I know that eventually.
One piece of fruit will manifest itself someday.
I really believe.
We're like, yeah, I
someday
do.
I'll be able to stand this, and you'll be able to stand it, and what a glory that will be.
Guys, we have to believe it, or why will we continue? It's been 13 years. We're holding on to hope, for crying out loud. I still believe.
God showed me the number 15 when we first met, and I thought
He did.
it's gonna be 15
thought it would-
years, and then we'll finally.
That's what you thought. I saw
So,
that number. And I thought
yeah.
it was 2015. So imagine my discouragement in the year 2015 when it didn't manifest, but I yet hold on. So good. At least we heard the same number. We just came to two different
Oh, yeah.
conclusions.
Here's another thing I could see happening, and this is going to sound terrible to some people.
Okay.
Horrible. And other people will be like, that's already my church tradition. That's kind of where we already are.
All right.
I have a hunch. Well, not a hunch. I can see communities, Christian communities, kicking in here pretty soon that are the opposite of let's get non-believers in this group.
Okay.
Like we all think that that's how it works. Like
That's
you
true.
have a thing and you try to invite people who aren't believers and get them there. And so it's because they're there or because you think they might be there, you change how you do things. That's just normal when it comes to hosting a group.
That's right.
Even if somebody brings a boyfriend or a girlfriend and now like, okay, we're not going to have the same intimacy we have a stranger here.
Right.
It changes things. It might be better. It might
Yeah.
not, but it's like the person, nobody's just neutral
Mm-hmm.
in any gathering.
Yeah.
So we set things up for that purpose. Like we want these people to understand, maybe you've never encountered Christianity before. Like let's put kind of angle everything that way. And for the believer. But I think people might be leaning into, this is our walled garden.
Mm.
This is where those of us who say we are disciples get a chance to get together. And we do want people to become believers. And when they do, they're welcome in here for this gathering. We'll have another gathering maybe on, once a month, or we'll have another gathering, an introductory Bible study on Thursday nights at somebody's house, whatever. But this gathering is for people who are disciples.
Yeah.
Because that does change the dynamic, and it helps you with your why. Why are we gathering? Because there's a million different reasons, and if you have a million different reasons, you don't quite know. You can't nail it.
Yeah.
The best gatherings are kind of exclusive in that way. And I was reading about Meetup and the success of that website when it started, but they've learned some lessons, and they realized that specificity increases the amount of interest.
Okay.
So if you're like single moms get together, okay, well that's okay. Single moms hiking with dogs or single moms, whatever, like the more specificity, the more people can picture themselves there. They get it. It's odd that way. Whereas if it's just everybody.
Right.
So some people will say, well, you're not being evangelical. You're not. No, this is not that. It's a chance to do the one anothering and the discipleship stuff.
Yeah.
And then the people who are gifted to share the gospel with people, the people who like we've got all week for that. We can talk about how to do that, how to love people.
That's an interesting
Um,
concept. I think, excuse me, I think that what will drive that, you really want to be a downer. What will drive that, just like in the book of Acts, the reason why they had
mhm,
it like that was because
mhm.
our lives are on the line. So you can't
Yeah.
come sliding in here, you know what I mean? Like, hey, let's see what this is all about, because we don't know who's who. We don't know. It's not safe. And it's not safe because the culture at large is not safe, right? So if you can, and when people became disciples, that was to the exclusion of all the rest of the life, right? All the rest of the culture, all the rest of the things. Like what you didn't have this kind of mealy thing that we have where it's like, I'm a believer, but I'm this too. I go here, I go that. Like there was a decision and a cutting off from the world, so to speak. And now these people are your people. And we need to know that you made that decision too, because if not, we're not safe. And so I think that that will come with extended from the fact that things will become more and more. When I say unsafe, I hope everyone knows what I mean. It'll just, there's going to be a big cost to
Mhm.
um, being a disciple.
If you want to, yeah, you want to say Jesus is Lord
Yeah.
and not kiss the ring of anybody else. Like if you like, that's gonna cost you.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Like that's just that. But the wild thing is, okay, so we've got a church like that in Acts,
Hmm.
and it's true. Like government spies can be in there.
Yeah.
Like if you're not, you just invite anybody in. Now they experience this in China.
Mm.
Like now everybody's exposed. You just exposed everybody by bringing that guy in here.
Yeah.
Now we're all getting arrested.
Yeah.
So they have to trust you. But you would think that, well, a church model like that, obviously it's not going to grow.
No, it
That's
did.
been the fastest growing period in the history of the church.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wild, huh? Like, but they were known for loving their enemies, and they were known for loving people who were sick in the plague and not leaving them. And while they're being martyred, they weren't going down going, F you guys.
Right. Yeah.
Like they're returning evil with love.
Yeah. I just got a picture of Peter upside down on the cross. All right. But lastly,
You guys are stupid. That's the last thing I want to say. Dumbheads.
The Brant and Sherri Oddcast, sponsored by America's Christian Credit Union. To find out more about the show, go to BrantHansen.com.